Hello, taking a look at your stuff for this week. Cool, let's get into this. I know that you started spline. Oh, sorry. You had a rough week. That's cool. I mean, it happens. Yeah, I saw that you splined the mother. There's rough areas, of course. Cool. Well, Tween Machine isn't like a magic solution. It can help a little bit when you want to work done stepped and fine in-betweens. But once you're on spline, I don't know how much it helps. So I will largely talk, I don't know. I'm not sure how much the child has changed from last week, what I saw last week. Tonight, I must have given you a critique. Yeah, here's all the stuff about the kid. Let me see if you've worked on the kid. I'm just guessing. So forgive me if I don't see stuff. Cool. Now let's see what it is for this week. I think it's about the same. Maybe there's work done on the eye mask and stuff, but I'll focus on the mom for this one, if that's okay. I know you said it was rough with her splining and stuff. That's okay. Yeah, I feel like the head shape may be a little like even and spliny on this, you know what I mean? So it may be best just to like take, maybe you haven't gotten in there to do a bunch of breakdowns and stuff, but it just feels a little bit even. So maybe what you can do is like at the beginning here, do a little bit of a shorter and sharper head turn, maybe like stop it around here instead of continuing farther, so that it has some like variety from the previous head turn, or from the one that's coming. It could be a little shorter and sharper, and then this one is a little bit bigger, and then here when she comes on the turn's great. I think maybe you can start like lifting up the head earlier on this turn, I want to say, to like focusing on the girl here, and it feels like kind of smooth, so I think you need to work in some like little ups and downs on that turn to imply like some stepping happening. Like here it's like if she's gonna turn right this way, this is how I think about it, right? She's probably going to be lifting up this leg here to reposition this foot. And these proportions are all probably horribly wrong. So in order to lift up this leg, she's going to have to put weight on this leg here. She's probably going to have to shift over just a little bit, right? And maybe these are all things that you know, and if they are, I'm sorry to tell you things that you already know. But we do kind of maybe want to imply the stuff happening as she's turning. So maybe do a little weight shift here on our cog. I don't know if we're going to see like a pelvis rotation weight shift here happening, but maybe. And then here she's going to shift her weight back onto this foot, which has now been planted in its new location, right? As her pelvis is turning, right? And now what's going to happen is she's probably going to lean a little bit more over onto this foot so she can get this leg light, and this leg, this is a mess. This is a train wreck of a drawing. But let's say she shifted over here, right? Then the pelvis would tip a little bit like this, as this leg is repositioning to its new position, right? And then we would shift back over this way now that we have both of her legs in position. So shift over this way a little bit to resolve that now all of her weight is like on top of her stuff, and all of it needs to be supported throughout this step. It needs to be supported on the torso too, a little bit, so like if this hip is being driven up, she's going to have to like counterbalance it a little bit with like torso stuff that gets a little into the woods. But you know what I'm saying, like if they just rotate on this access, it doesn't feel like there's really feet under there. It feels like an animatronic robot or something. You know what I'm saying? I like that you have drag on this arm. That is very good. Love to see details thought about that, especially at this stage. I like to see how the tip of this comic book is dipping down. That is also very good. Love to see that being thought out. So yeah, I would turn her head around sooner, like before the torso turns around, which is what you're doing. Let's like try to just get the crown of the head back a little bit more, so it looks like she's making eye contact here. You know what I mean? I think how it looks now is it's a little bit more like this, which makes her look like she's kind of looking down here, right? That's a tiny thing, and I said it already, and I said it twice, so I'm just wasting our time. Cool. I wouldn't mind seeing what you're doing with this arm and stuff, but maybe just have the arm relax even more. Have it be even more down, so you get more of a distance when she goes up like this, right? And I think this up, let's get there a little sooner so that you have room, you have the time at the top of this arc to kind of hang out here for a few more frames. You know what I mean? Like maybe get up there here, like maybe have this hit your extreme. Oh, so I'm gonna draw it. Like here, let's hit your extreme here. And I don't mean like freeze it, I think you know that. But if it can come up faster, it'll come up farther faster, which will feel nice, and then we'll hit this extreme a little bit longer. And then this gesture down with it, it feels like, this is what it feels like the relationship between this, like if I had to draw the negative space here, this negative space here, this negative space doesn't seem to change all that much, because I feel like the arm and the head and the torso are all kind of coming together in a very samey sort of pace. So I would kind of lead with the comic book and delay the torso coming forward on this. And then I would even drag, you know. So yeah, comic book first, torso second, and just put a hint of drag on the head and stuff as it comes down. You know, this like lean forward that you're doing. I like all of where you're headed with all these poses, but it's just kind of like offsetting the timing of all that stuff is the way to go. I think it would be okay too. I don't know why I'm feeling this, so take it or leave it. But if the comic book kind of went down more like this, because then it's more like showing the kid the comic book, and then you could even have it like overshoot a little bit and come back up. But I feel like this is pretty high up, you know what I mean? So maybe we can get a little bit bigger flourish on this down here. And maybe I would even drag the top of the comic book up a little bit more, which is just basically not the top of the comic book, but just drag the hand, drag the comic book as you're coming down with it, and then come into a lower spot. It's always hard to know what to do with the other arm when you're doing some of this, but something that'll make it feel less stiff, as if when she starts to come forward like this, put like a little bend in the elbow here, you know what I mean? So that, you know, try to figure out like, oh, this is where my hand is. Let's try to keep like the hand sort of, I don't know. It'll probably make it feel a little bit looser if you do that. And it doesn't mean that you can't eventually go back out here at the end of it, but just to get like a tiny little bit of shape change happening here. So it's not all just like locked to the torso and looks like, it's almost like how an action figure or something would do it, you know what I mean? Even if you lean forward here, you know, you can also rotate. And I'm not saying these should be big noticeable things, they're just kind of like keep alive things. But you could also just rotate this arm forward to kind of show like, hey, there's gravity at work on this arm. And so maybe, you know, it stays more in an straight up and down position, and it doesn't rotate with the torso as it goes forward. Let me play it again to hear the audio to see if I have any.
These things in our home. Things in our home.
I think try playing with having a little more of a gesture. Like you have this little thing here, which is nice, where she goes down and then she kind of comes up with her nose. Maybe make the down a little bit bigger and a little sharper when she says things, you know?
I don't want these things in our home.
Yeah, I don't know. I would punch that up a little bit by either making it a little bit bigger on the down here, right? Not by a ton, but maybe just a little bit. And then when you come up, maybe you could make that a little sharper. Play with that and see how it feels, because it can kind of betray how she really feels about it, even though the audio is calm, like she's staying calm. Like having those moves be slightly bigger and sharper may tell our audience how she really feels about it, right?
Mom, don't make a big...
That's nice. You have like a little head drag going on the front on this coming up. I think you could probably keep it dragging just a little bit longer. You know what I mean? We don't want her head to feel floppy, but I would play with that just to have a little bit more drag, and then when she reaches the top here, it'd be nice to like get out of that drag and have her get a little bit more straight up and down with the head. Just some thoughts and ideas on how to push it a little bit further.
Mom, don't make a big deal.
It's nice how the hand comes down like this, but maybe I think I would rotate that hand to make the comic book, to make it a more comfortable pose for her to hold it, like the thumbs here, you know, this is how it looks behind her skirt or her dress, you know, to make it look like a little more casual.
Out of this. Don't speak to me with that attitude. Out of this. Don't speak.
This is a little tough. I'm not sure how to like give you notes on this where she goes, because she goes back and then goes forward, you know what I mean? She goes back and then forward and then back. I think I would just kind of make that simpler and like probably sharper, right? Just have her go forward instead of back and then forward. And it's fine if this becomes like your resting pose 217 instead of the resting pose that you have here at 187. Maybe that's the way to like handle it. But have this down be sharp and this up be sharp, because she's like reacting with anger.
This. Don't speak to me with that.
So I almost want to see that happen first, like earlier. So let's see, when is she into her pose?
Deal out of this. Don't. Big deal out of this.
So yeah, so don't make a big deal out of this. It almost ends around 209. If we lose this back here, that'll save 9 frames. If this down and up are quicker, that'll save a lot of frames.
Don't make a big deal out of this. Don't speak to me with that attitude.
I mean, attitude is here with the hand on the chest. I feel like that's correct. That's the correct time.
Don't speak to me with that attitude.
But it's like I almost want her to go, don't. Like she's up here on like don't already. Even before or just after don't. It's like a preparation to say the line. She's like getting distance from the kid. Putting the comic book up high and dropping it down feels like she might be threatening to hit the kid with it. So maybe just have it go into this pose rather than going up here on this pose. And then I feel like on attitude, that's when we should see your head go from a more like upright pose here. And then attitude maybe is when she like leans it over, because she's trying to say like, who do you think you are? What are you doing? And this should all be supported by the neck, of course. Yeah, even something a little bit more upright to leaning over, I think is the way to go there on attitude. But yeah, I know you're still early days splining this, so I won't get too much more deeper into it than that. But it's a good start. Sorry you had a bad week or a rough week as far as getting this done, but don't worry about it. Just, you know, I think you're still making good progress to hit the end of the class with this, which is the goal. And it's not a small amount of frames, and it's 2 characters, so it is a lot. I understand it's a lot, but you're doing really solid, great work. So keep it up. I look forward to seeing you in class next week. All right, bye.